Um, any DAFG wants to know more about Nashville, and if you can elaborate on the influence and experience there.
Nashville, they just have a really different perspective on music and what they focus on, what matters to them. Their priorities when they're writing a song are very different from New York or LA, because I guess the atmosphere and the community there is a lot more laid back, and a lot of people just assume that it's mainly country there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very prominent in country, but they do a lot of other stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
They even do, urban stuff and indie music and rock and pop. So the people there, I loved how they just were really focusing on building the song. They didn't just make the song because it was the catchiest, most hip thing. Mm-hmm. It was about bringing out that feeling and idea, and it's making sense with who's singing it.
Right.
And they really allowed me to think about how I wanted to develop as an artist. And so the people there are just awesome. There's some very talented people there, and I just love it there. It's great.
Cool. Here is a question from Yulinda Chandra, who says, what is the definition of success according to you, and do you think that you've earned it?
Success, I think success is never something you just reach and that's it. Success, I think, is something that's a continuous thing that you're trying to... Success for me is that constant movement forward in your life and constantly making progress. It doesn't matter if it's... like if you're trying to get over here, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't just go straight up here and you stay there. It's like, oh, I've reached happiness and I'm going to stay there for the rest of my life and I don't have to do anything else. Right. I feel like it's a constant struggle trying to move forward and move up. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the most satisfying feeling you can feel.
You learn a lot during that struggle.
Yeah, sometimes it's the difficult thing. Sometimes it's not always perfect, but it's that constant movement to the end that is the most satisfying thing. And it can be, it can be slow too, as long as you're making an effort.
Well, speaking of some of the successes that you've had this year, not only do you have a new album out and you have really improved yourself as a songwriter and a musician, but you had a book that was on the New York Times bestseller list back in June that was called Chords of Strength. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Chords of Strength. That that was a surprise because it's like, well, who's gonna want to read a book about me? Yeah, but it was cool to see how people responded so well to it and positively. And, people had made a lot of assumptions before it came out. And it's like, why is this kid writing a book already? And I wondered that myself. I was like, why am I writing a book already? It's like, I have so much more life, hopefully, to live. And, but I've just felt like, there's something saying, right now is the right time to do it. And this opportunity is here for you now. You don't know when you'll get this other chance again, where this many people are willing to listen to what you have to say, and to share these experiences and what you've learned so far with this age group, because a lot of kids, this is when, this is a lot of times, this is a very challenging time in life when you're a teenager, trying to figure out which road you're going to really take and what kind of person you want to be and become. And, just, a lot of those life-changing decisions. A lot of older people, usually the memories and stories that they tell when they're older are about the times when they're in high school and what they learned then, because that's where, that the big changes happen. Mm-hmm. So it was just really cool to be able to talk about that and talk about what music meant to me and what I thought about how the way music works and how it affects people, and just that power that music has. And then also talking about my American Idol experience and talking about the vocal cord paralysis that I had, and just talking about
what is vocal cord paralysis.
Vocal cord it's just where your vocal cord's paralyzed and doesn't move. So it It was a weird thing.
And so
And
you couldn't speak, you couldn't sing.
no, it had an effect on my breathing and my talking and my singing. So it was a very frustrating time. And I when it happened at first, I pretty much was just like, okay, well, so much for me. I was kind of like I gave up. I just was like, things are done. I guess this is my sign that I'm not supposed to do music and that I'm supposed to focus on something else. But, I thought, okay, it's not meant to be. But I'm so glad that I was wrong, because the feeling of music and my love for it, my desire to do it, never went away.
Right.
And even though there are times where it's like, man, I know I'm supposed to do music, but how? How am I supposed to do it? Am I supposed to work on my writing, become a songwriter, or work on piano better and become a pianist, or teach kids in school music? I don't know. I just know that I'm supposed to do it somehow,
right,
in some way. And it's just, you can't ignore those feelings, because you'll regret it if you ignore them.
Yeah. You talked a lot about just being a teenager, and you have been doing this for several years now, and for most of your teenage years, you've been in recording studios, and you've been touring, and you've been making television appearances. Do you have time just to be a normal teenager?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like, especially now, I've learned, after all that's happened and all the experiences that have happened, I've learned even more how valuable the simple things are. Mm-hmm. I think those are the most important things you can have in your life. The things that are so simple, so basic, and so that everyone seems to kind of have there. And all they have to do is have an appreciation for it and have gratitude for those things. Sometimes you have to have it taken away from you before you can really appreciate it. Mm-hmm. But it's just amazing how everyone has those basic things that are the most important in your lives. Your family. I've learned now that I've been away from them, I've realized how much they mean to me and how much I love being with them, and how much I appreciated the realness that they have and that they carry with them, and it's they're definitely, every time I go home, I just want to spend time with them and just hang out and do simple things, because those are the things that last the longest.
Well, here's a question from Joel Hess, who wants to know, when you have time off, where do you want most to be?
When I have time off, probably home. Mm-hmm. I just like hanging out with my sisters and finding a place to go eat with them, or play video games with them, and go out and see a movie and things like that. And
you've been everywhere in the world at this point. I mean, like you've been to so many new places. Where have you been where do you look forward to going to? Like, what's the place that you've been to that's really, really blown you away?
I mean, going to, I guess I haven't gone to a whole bunch of places, but I mean, it's cool. It was really cool getting to go to Southeast Asia, and just because it was somewhere I never thought I would get to go to, and it was just a different culture, different people, different food, different environment, and it was really cool to see, despite the completely different world that you're in, to see all the fans that were there, and to see that they're it's like, I'm in a place I've never been to before, on the other side of the world, so different, and there are all these people who know my songs and are singing along. Right. It was so bizarre and so cool, and it was just a really neat experience.
That's awesome. Here's a question from Herbert Ramos Salagdo, who says, are you and Cherise friends, and do you have plans of recording a duet with her anytime soon?
I actually am friends with Cherise. She is such an amazingly talented gal, and she's just a real sweetheart, very just very appreciative, very grateful for the things that are going on in her life. And I did a duet with her
Did you really?
on the Christmas album last year.
Awesome.
Yeah. It'd be cool to get to do another duet with her, on a song that would like allow us just to really get into, singing into the emotion and the heart of it. Because she has such an amazing voice. She's one of the best singers that I've ever met.
She is pretty amazing.
Honestly, yeah.
Now, are you a fan of Glee?
Yeah, actually, it's a fun show. I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but I've been able to watch Glee every now and then when I'm home, and it's so funny. I mean, I love how the way they incorporate the songs and music into the show and how they've made it popular. I like how they've made it popular with music and to be a geek.
Right.
I love that. I think it's so awesome because it's like, I love music and I'm a geek. Hey, and I love Jane Lynch. She makes me cry laughing so hard.
Any chance that you're gonna make a cameo on the show? I mean, Charisse is there on there now, so I'm sure
Yeah,
that
she is.
she can
I know.
get a walk on for you at the very
I don't
least.
know. No, I think that that's a show that's in high demand to be on. But I think it'd be a cool show to get to do. It's it's really fun, and I just feel like I relate to. I guess a lot of people feel like they can relate to that because, there are a lot of people who kind of feel like they're kind of the geeks and
Right.
the losers and stuff. But it's like, hey, you're not alone. We stand united. I don't know.
Well, if there's any producers from Glee that are watching,
No,
hook
no.
this guy up.
No.
I want to see him on the show.